There's a sentence you've probably heard your entire adult life. Renting is just throwing money away. Maybe it came from a parent, a coworker, a well-meaning friend who just bought their first house and suddenly became a real estate expert. Whoever said it, they said it with total confidence, like it was a law of nature, like it was just obvious. And here's the thing, almost nobody questions it. But while everyone's busy warning you about rent, there's a monthly payment sitting quietly in your bank account that is doing significantly more damage to your financial future, and nobody is calling it throwing money away: your car payment. Today we're going to run the actual math on both, not opinions, not feelings, numbers. And by the end of this, the sentence, renting is throwing money away, is going to sound very different to you. Let's get into it. So where did this idea come from, that rent is wasted? It comes from one real truth and one massive oversimplification. The real truth, when you pay a mortgage, a portion of each payment builds equity. You're slowly buying something. When you pay rent, you don't get that. The money goes to your landlord and you own nothing at the end of the month. That part is factually correct. But here's the oversimplification. The assumption is that buying is always better because you're building something, and not assumption ignores everything else that comes with owning a home. Let's look at what home ownership actually costs beyond the mortgage. Property taxes. In most U.S. cities, you're looking at 1 to 2% of the home's value per year. On a $350,000 home, that's $3,500 to $7,000 a year just in taxes, whether you use the house or not. Maintenance and repairs. The standard rule used by financial planners is 1 to 2% of home value annually. That's another $3,500 to $7,000 on that same home. Some years it's a $150 faucet. Other years it's a $12,000 roof you didn't budget for. Homeowner's insurance. Add roughly $1,500 to $2,000 per year. Mortgage interest. In the early years of a 30-year mortgage, the majority of your payment is interest, not principal. On a $300,000 loan at 7%, your first payment of $1,996 includes about $1,750 in interest and only $246 going toward equity. It takes years before that ratio starts shifting in your favor. So when someone says you're throwing money away on rent, they're quietly ignoring the thousands of dollars a year that homeowners spend on interest, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Money that also builds zero equity. Money that is also, by that definition, thrown away. Here's the important part. Renting isn't always better than buying, and buying isn't always better than renting. The right answer depends entirely on your local market, your timeline, and what you do with the difference in monthly costs. But the idea that renting is automatically a financial mistake, that's a myth, a persistent, culturally embedded myth that makes people rush into buying a home before they're financially ready, and sometimes before it even makes mathematical sense. Rent buys you something real: flexibility, no maintenance costs, no property tax bills, no surprise $8,000 HVAC replacements. And depending on your market, it can free up significant cash every month that could be building your future in a completely different way. Now let's talk about the thing nobody calls throwing money away. The average new car payment in the United States in 2026 is $737 a month. The average loan term is 68 months, just over 5.5 years. Total paid over the loan, roughly $50,000. And the car, the asset you just spent $50,000 on, will be worth somewhere around 40% of its original purchase price by the time you finish paying for it. You paid $50,000 in cash and loan interest for an asset worth $19,000 to $21,000. But that's just the loan. Let's build the real number. Insurance on a new car averaged $2,000 to $2,400 per year. Over 5 years, $10,000 to $12,000. Gas, assuming average mileage, $2,000 to $3,000 per year. 5 years, $10,000 to $15,000. Maintenance, tires, registration, miscellaneous, $1,500 to $2,500 per year. 5 years, $7,500 to $12,500. So let's add it up. Loan payments, $50,000. Insurance, $11,000. Gas, $12,500. Maintenance and fees, $10,000. Total 5-year cost of that average new car, somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000, for a vehicle now worth $20,000. And here's the question nobody asks: where does that money go? It doesn't build equity. Cars depreciate, they lose value the moment you drive them off the lot, and they keep losing it every single year. There's no car equity you can tap into when you need it. There's no car appreciation you can retire on. A car payment is, by every financial definition, the thing people use to describe rent. It is throwing money away every single month for 5.5 years with interest. The difference is, nobody says that out loud because a car is visible, it's status. It says something about you when you pull up to work or to dinner. Your apartment building mostly just says where you live. So the payment that's silently draining $737 a month from your future gets called just a car payment. And the rent check that's keeping a roof over your head and leaving you financially flexible gets called throwing money away. That framing is backwards, and it's costing people real money. Let's run a specific comparison so this stops being abstract. Imagine two people, same income. One drives a new car with a $737 monthly payment. The other drives a reliable used car, paid off, runs fine, and invests the $737 difference every single month. At a 10% historical average annual return, $737 a month invested for 10 years becomes approximately $152,000. Not from a windfall, not from a business, from choosing a different car. The first person has a depreciating vehicle and no investment account. The second person has a paid-off used car and $152,000 growing in the background. Now here's where this connects back to rent. If the person driving the used car is also renting, and because they're in a flexible rental situation, they avoided buying a home in a market where prices are inflated, and they're investing the difference between their rent and what a mortgage would cost them in their city, they may be building significantly more wealth than the person who bought the house and the new car and is now maxed out on monthly obligations, unable to invest anything meaningful. The math doesn't lie. What you drive and what you pay for it matters enormously, far more than most people realize, and far more than whether you own or rent. So why does this keep happening? Why do smart people, people who are genuinely trying to make good financial decisions, keep buying expensive cars while feeling guilty about renting? 3 reasons. The first is visibility. A car is in your driveway. Your coworkers see it. Your family sees it. It communicates something immediately about your income, your taste, your success. There's real social pressure wrapped up in what you drive. Rent is invisible. It's just a payment that leaves your account. Nobody admires your lease renewal. The second is the payment illusion. Dealerships don't sell you a $45,000 car. They sell you a $737 a month payment. The total cost of the vehicle is never the number in the conversation. When something feels affordable on a monthly basis, the full price becomes invisible. You never sit down and look at $737 times 68 months equals $50,000. You just feel like you can handle the monthly number. The third is the cultural script. Buying a home equals success. Renting equals failure. Buying a new car equals treating yourself. You earned it. Driving a used car equals settling. These scripts are so embedded that questioning them feels uncomfortable, even when the math clearly points in a different direction. Recognizing these 3 forces doesn't mean you have to live like a monk. It means you get to make the decision with your eyes open, instead of letting the script make it for you. 3 practical things. Specific, no vague advice. First, calculate your total car cost, not your monthly payment. Take your monthly payment and multiply it by your loan term. Add insurance for the full loan period. Add estimated fuel and maintenance. That's your real number. Write it down. Knowing the actual cost of a financial decision before you make it is not optional. It's the most basic financial protection you have. Second, Run the rent math honestly. Before you let anyone tell you renting is throwing money away, calculate what home ownership would actually cost you monthly in your specific city, not just the mortgage, but taxes, insurance, and a maintenance reserve. Then compare that to your rent. In a significant number of markets in 2026, renting and investing the difference comes out ahead or even for 5 to 7 years. Know your numbers before you accept someone else's conclusion. Third, ask one question before every major purchase. Not, can I afford the monthly payment? That question will almost always say yes. The real question is, what is this purchase preventing me from building? A $737 car payment isn't just $737. It's $152,000 over 10 years that didn't compound. It's the down payment you didn't save. It's the investment account that didn't exist. Every large monthly commitment carries an opportunity cost, the thing it blocked you from doing, and that cost almost never shows up in the conversation at the dealership or the open house. Rent is not throwing money away. It's exchanging money for shelter, flexibility, and freedom from maintenance costs. And depending on your situation, it may be the smartest financial position you can be in right now. Your car payment, though, run that number honestly. Look at the full 5-year cost. Look at what that same money could be doing in an index fund. And then decide, not based on the monthly payment, not based on what it says about you in the parking lot, but based on what it means for the version of you 10 years from now. The sentence that should make you nervous isn't "I'm renting," it's "I just signed a 68-month loan on a $45,000 car." Now you know why. If this reframed something for you, drop a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Aris Finance. We're here every week, running the real numbers. See you in the next one.